Bullet News today, good evening. Here are the top stories. Tropical storm Debbie leaves U.S., flooding and power outages persist in Northeast. Tropical storm Debbie has finally moved out of the United States and is now advancing into Canada. However, the storm's impact has left a significant trail of destruction across the Northeast. On its last day over the U.S., Debbie unleashed heavy rainfall on south central New York and north central Pennsylvania, leading to severe flooding that has necessitated emergency evacuations and numerous helicopter rescues. Despite the storm having passed, flood warnings are still in effect across the affected areas. In addition, nearly 170,000 homes and businesses, with Ohio being the hardest hit, are still without power. The flooding has caused extensive damage to residential properties, agricultural lands, and infrastructure, particularly in the Finger Lakes region of New York. Recovery efforts are now in full swing, but the scale of the destruction presents significant challenges. Japanese PM can cancels Central Asia visit amid megaquake advisory. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has canceled his forthcoming 4-day trip to Central Asia in light of growing concerns over a potential megaquake in the Nankai Trough region. The Japan Meteorological Agency has issued a serious advisory predicting an increased likelihood of a massive earthquake along the Pacific coast. This precautionary measure follows a recent 7.1 magnitude earthquake that struck off Japan's southern coast, causing minor tsunami waves. Japan, situated on the seismically active Ring of Fire, is now bracing for a potential magnitude 8 to 9 earthquake, which could result in widespread devastation. The government is stepping up its disaster preparedness efforts, reflecting the heightened state of alert as officials work to safeguard communities against this looming threat. North Korean leader orders relocation of flood victims to Pyongyang. In response to devastating floods in North Korea's northwest, leader Kim Jong-un has ordered the relocation of approximately 15,400 flood victims to Pyongyang for temporary care. This decision comes amid the regime's refusal to accept external aid, despite offers from traditional allies such as Russia and China. Kim Jong-un has emphasized the country's commitment to self-reliance, stating that rebuilding efforts in the affected regions will take 2 to 3 months. The floods, which occurred in late July, submerged thousands of homes and farmlands. While North Korean authorities have not reported casualties, South Korean sources suggest that the death toll could be significantly higher. The relocation to the capital is intended to provide better care while recovery operations continue in the devastated areas. Oregon wildfires set new record. Oregon is grappling with its most severe wildfire season on record, with over 1.4 million acres burned so far this year, surpassing the previous record set in 2020. The state has been ravaged by 71 large fires, which have wreaked havoc, particularly in rural and mountainous regions. As the fire season intensifies, widespread evacuations have been implemented, with some of the blazes threatening areas close to Portland. The Durkee Fire, once the largest fire in the nation, has burned over 459 square miles, but is now reported to be 95% contained. Despite ongoing efforts to control the fires, high temperatures, dry conditions, and low humidity continue to exacerbate the situation. Authorities remain on high alert as the peak of the fire season approaches, with concerns that conditions could worsen further. Belarus bolsters military presence on Ukraine border. Belarus has significantly strengthened its military presence along the border with Ukraine, following a series of Ukrainian drone incursions. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has labeled these incursions as a provocation, accusing Ukraine of escalating tensions and undermining peace efforts. In response, Belarusian Defense Minister Viktor Krenin has announced the deployment of Special Operations Forces, ground troops, and advanced missile systems, including the Polonez and Iskander complexes, to the Gomel and Mozyr regions. The Belarusian Foreign Ministry has lodged a strong protest with Ukraine, warning of potential retaliatory actions if such incursions continue. While Ukraine has not publicly responded to these allegations, Belarus has also urged neighboring European countries to prevent further escalation to avoid regional conflict. Israeli airstrike on Gaza school kills over 70. An Israeli airstrike on the Al Tabeen school in Gaza City, which was providing shelter to displaced Palestinians, has resulted in the deaths of more than 70 individuals. The Israeli military claimed that the strike targeted a Hamas and Islamic Jihad command center, but Hamas has vehemently denied these allegations. The attack has drawn severe criticism from Western and regional powers, condemning Israel for what they perceive as a disregard for civilian lives amid the ongoing Gaza conflict. The United Nations and various humanitarian organizations have expressed outrage and called for an immediate ceasefire as civilian casualties continue to mount. This tragic incident underscores the urgent need for a resolution to the protracted and bloody conflict. Ukraine's bold incursion into southern Russia. In a bold and unprecedented move, Ukrainian forces have launched a surprise incursion into Russia's southern Kursk region, capturing substantial territory and creating chaos along the border. This operation, which advanced over 20 kilometers into Russian territory, has led to the surrender of Russian troops and the displacement of civilians, causing significant disruption to Russian defenses. The Ukrainian offensive, described as a strategic surprise, has forced Russian authorities to declare a state of emergency in the region and has sparked anger among Russian civilians and military officials. This maneuver not only disrupts Russian military plans, but also serves as a morale booster for Ukraine, demonstrating to international allies that Kyiv remains capable of challenging the Kremlin despite ongoing struggles on the Eastern Front. India's new law against deceitful marriage promises sparks debate. India's recent criminal law reform, aimed at punishing men who make false marriage promises to gain sexual favors, has ignited a vigorous national debate. The new law, which stipulates a prison term of up to 10 years for those who deceitfully break marriage promises, is intended to protect women from sexual exploitation. However, critics argue that the law could be misused and that proving deceitful intent might be challenging. The introduction of this statute has prompted discussions about its relevance in contemporary India, where social norms around relationships are evolving. The debate highlights the ongoing tension between traditional values and modern attitudes toward relationships and consent in the country. U.S. Ambassador to Japan withdraws from Nagasaki peace ceremony. U.S. Ambassador to Japan Rahm Emanuel has opted to withdraw from the Nagasaki peace ceremony due to the exclusion of Israel from the event. The ceremony, which commemorates the anniversary of the atomic bombing in 1945, has been criticized for barring Israel from attending because of security concerns. This decision has led several Western nations, including the US, UK, Germany, and Italy, to withdraw their high-level representatives. Instead, the US will be represented by the principal officer of Consulate Fukuoka, while Ambassador Emanuel will attend a separate peace ceremony in Tokyo. The exclusion of Israel has sparked a diplomatic row and highlights the complexities of international relations in the context of historical commemorations. That's all for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Bullet News today.